Hey, I'm Cameron McKenzie. I'm the editor-in-chief at theserverside.com, and you can follow me on Twitter at CameronMCNZ. Right now, I want to talk to you about the git log command and how you can use this git log command in terminal. I'm going to show you a couple of neat things with the git log, including how to create a graph with it, how to pretty it up, even show you how to change the format. So instead of telling you the date that git commits happen, it'll tell you something like, hey, this commit happened 5 days ago. So here you can see my GitLab repository. If I look at the commits, you can see that I've got a pretty long commit history here. And I've even got the option to put a graph on here. Now, GitLab will show me the graphs. But I don't want to show you how to look at the commits on GitLab, and GitHub provides something very, very similar. I want to show you how to use this in terminal and use the git log command in terminal. So how do you do it? Well, the first thing you want to do is you just want to clone your repository. So whether you're using Bitbucket, GitLab, GitHub, you'll always be able to find your HTTP URL that allows you to clone your repository. I've copied that URL, and I'm going to open up a terminal window and just issue the git clone command. And there we go. If I do a little ls, you'll see the GitLab Made Easy folder is there. That's where everything's been cloned into. So I got to move in there. And once I've moved in there, I can go in and start exploring the log. Now, when you work with a log, I personally don't like the standard format. It's pretty long. It's pretty cumbersome. It's hard for me to comprehend. And so that was just the git log command, by the way. And if you get stuck in here, just the Q letter will get you out of there. So when you see that colon, just hit Q. Or you can scroll down to the end of it, but I like the Q a little bit better. You know, I like to just pretty this up. And there's a pretty switch that you've got. You can say git log -- pretty equals oneline. And you can see that'll pretty it up a fair bit. It almost looks like git ref log. Now, git ref log is only your local commits, whereas git log is the whole history of public commits on the repository. So since I just cloned this, my log shows me a lot of public commits, but I've only done one commit locally on this repository. So that's why I only have, just one entry here. But I like that. I think it looks a lot nicer, and it looks like the pretty one-line command. Now, in fact, you can get even closer to the way that the git ref log output looks by saying git log -- one line. So notice I don't have the pretty word in there. So in the last time I showed you that, I used git log -- pretty equals one line. If you just say -- one line, it looks even nicer. It gives you the small hash rather than the great big long hash there. So that's one of the ways to use git log. I also like using the git log graph option. Graph. I think this looks fantastic. Doesn't look fantastic right now because all of these commits are on just the master branch. But if I scroll down, eventually you start seeing, there's a branch that moved off. And you can start seeing like a history and merge. Now again, the full output here of the log, I think, hurts this. So if you match that graph option with -- one line, well, now you're cooking with gas. Watch this. Yeah, that's the way you want to see it. And you can actually see here, you got a nice little graph. And I think that graph looks similar to the way that the graph looks if I go to GitLab. I mean, obviously this is a user interface web-based, so it looks a little bit better, but that's the same repository, same commit history. And you can kind of see here what it's saying is it's saying, hey, you started off on master, that's the stars there, and then somebody merged out into a fun feature branch, and then that branch, bam, got merged into what looks like the development branch. And then a couple more commits happened there, a couple little bit more work happened there, and then bam, it got merged back into the master branch. So now that fun feature goes into development, which then goes back into master. But sometime in between, somebody actually branched out into a hotfix branch. And while this was working in parallel and committed into master, the hotfix branch was still going. There's another commit here, and then finally the hotfix branch gets merged into master, which includes the merge from developer and feature, and all of a sudden, we're good. We're back to normal again. So I think that's pretty cool, right? Press the Q button to get out of there. Now there's also some other options. People that use the git log command like to include the pretty option. So the pretty option, or the custom string for pretty. And I'm gonna enter this quickly so you see it, and I'll now show it to you again. But this output here is from this command. And you see it just says git log. I want a pretty output. The first part of the output should be yellow, should say hash, and then the small hash code. So you see it says the word hash, and there's the small hash code. I want the next part in blue. I want to say the word date, and then I want to do the commit date. So blue, there's the commit date. And then in red, I want to print out the word message, colon, and then the commit message. And you see that's printed out there too. And I say human date. You can change that. You can do the short date. You can see it just changes the date format a little bit. So that's pretty cool. And that's kind of how you use the git log command at the terminal. That's how you use the git log command from the command line. And it's pretty powerful. There's also other options. So there's git log -- pretty equals short. There's GitLab medium. I said GitLab, I meant GitLog. There's GitLog full. And not roll, it's full. A little bit more information. There's even fuller, which I think is funny. I'm waiting for the git log command called git log fullest, stamped it, no erase, who swallowed the golden key, but they haven't created that one yet. Reference to see which commits are referenced by a given commit. And then I don't know what else. I don't know. I like git log. Well, there's git log pretty equals email, which includes the email of the user that did the commit. Okay, that's interesting. And then even raw. It shows you kind of some of the long hash codes for the commit, the tree, the parent, stuff like that. So that's pretty neat. By the way, actually, one option that I like for the git log is the relative date option. And boy, I hope you stuck around to this part of the tutorial, because I think this is pretty cool. It's not part of the pretty, but you can say git log relative date. I like adding the one line in there. And when you do this, you'll notice that, well, actually the one line probably destroys it, so that wasn't a good idea. You can actually see that now it's printing it out saying, hey, this commit happened 4 days ago. This commit happened 18 hours ago. This commit happened, well, how old is this repository? That's about 7 days old. So this one happened 7 days ago. But I think that's super cool, right? It can tell you, hey, relative date, not just, oh, it happened on July 25th, but it happened 7 days ago. That makes things a little bit easier. Might even make troubleshooting your applications a bit easier as well. But there you go. That is an overview of how you can use the git log in terminal. And there you go. I think that's about everything you need to know about using the git log command in terminal. Now, I'm the editor at theserverside.com, so if you want more Git, GitHub, GitLab tutorials, head over there, and I cover everything about server-side development, DevOps, microservices, Kubernetes, Agile, you name it. So head on over. There's more tutorials there. And if you're interested in my personal antics, head over to Twitter and follow me at CameronMCNZ.